So I'm going to get us started here. I am Carolyn Langer, and on behalf of WICB, I am the hip hop, rap, and R&B music director, accompanied here by Mardue Tompo from Fort Worth, Texas, which is quite the far travel from where I am in Ithaca. But I was really, really inspired by the emails that you had sent me with your music. Just honestly, very surprised with how straightforward you were. Like, here it is. I'm talking about BLM. I'm talking activism, and I'm an artist and a performer that you should reckon with. And I'm excited to introduce you as Dawe, the artist. And I guess to kind of understand you a little bit more for those who might not know your music, you have quite the rising up story. And I kind of would like to explore that a little bit and gauge how that story also impacted how passionate you are about the craft that you have now.
So pretty much my story goes like this. When I just left like UTA. I, left college early to move out to LA to pursue a career in the entertainment industry. And unfortunately, I didn't realize that I had mental health issues that got exacerbated when I was out in California. So I was actually ended up on the streets for like 5 years. So during that time of like homelessness, I was like navigating the entertainment industry, being homeless. I gotta take that toy away from my dog. Being homeless, of course, being like a person of color, a queer person of color, all kinds of like not some very good stuff. So from there, once I got hospitalized when I was 28, I actually moved back home to Texas and spent like 6 months in intensive therapy. And during that time period, just kind of wanted to use my trauma and my pain and kind of use like a form of spiritual alchemy through the art that I create, and just like take my experiences and to like give them to other people that may also be going through something similar as well, to inspire and not just like heal myself but heal others. So
something that I think is really cool about you as an artist and a creator is your passion to evoke emotion. And even when you were sending me the music videos to your song BLM and trying to, I think I said something like, oh yeah, I'll tell you what I think. And you were like, no, tell me how you feel. And I think that's something that you had to learn yourself in order to make art that is worth feeling for and worth having other people feel about it. So I would also like to know a little bit about that journey that it maybe took for you to have empathy and create art that is so emotionally encompassing.
right. So like for me, like just the environment that I grew up in, we weren't really taught to like express our emotions, mainly because like coming from like a family of immigrants, I'm Liberian American, so there was a massive civil war that affected Liberia for years, and not just that, Africa is like really hard and traumatic. So my family kind of raised us with a survival being at the forefront as opposed to life at the forefront, and I had to kind of learn to connect with like parts of myself, like basically like, hey, how are you feeling? Like, it's okay to be like, I'm not having a good day today. It's okay to be like, I feel depressed, I feel anxious, I feel sad, and not feel like a kind of shame towards it like I used to. So that's why I believe like, especially with our generation, well, your generation and my generation, right? I feel as if, you know, because there's so much emphasis that's placed upon excellence, a lot of us have lost years of our lives um, due to like standards that society has like put upon us, as well as just like world events. Like when you think about it, you lost a year of your life during this corona crisis. There's people that have literally lost that. Like that's the year you could be working, internships, all kinds of stuff. That's like gone, right? Um, so like during that time period, you know, like mental health is like such a major issue that is like affecting so many people like nowadays. I just really want like my work to be like, if you can't like afford to go to a therapist, I'm not saying you should replace it, but you have like me as a friend that you can kind of listen to and draw inspiration from. Because I've literally like seen and like I've been through everything. There's like not a single like event that I haven't been through that I haven't been able to overcome and survive. I remember when I went to my therapist, the first thing my therapist said, you know, within 5 minutes of hearing my story, she was like, "Wow, that's like a lot of trauma." And I was like, "Yeah, it's a lot to you. Imagine living with it like every day." But I want to show people that like on the other side of trauma, like there's beauty in life. So it was a little bit rambly, but that's just how I feel.
No, good. I'm glad you're expressing yourself. I think that it's cool that you take a perspective of wanting to be there for other people when maybe you didn't have that, you know, so from the experiences that you've had in life that have pushed you down and you've just kept going, you use that force to still perpetuate basically a shoulder to lean on, you know, and I think that is a beautiful part of who you are. Just you know, like that, it's just an incredible characteristic that you have. And I think that fuels a lot of the passion that you have toward the activism that you use in your music, but in your daily life of just being the shoulder for everyone, you know. I guess I'm a little curious about your history of activism. I believe, if I know correctly, that it started more formally in college.
Right. So my history of activism stems pretty much. This is how my history of activism started. Um, I was in high school, and I remember when Barack Obama first became president, and I was in a high school in Texas, and I remember we all ran through the hallways. Me and my friends were so stoked about it. And then these girls were like, "Hey, why can't all the black people go back to Africa?" So I mean, come on, it's a Texas high school. You know what I mean? Very conservative. I had no choice but to be an activist, you know, because I never really fit into like the broader system, and I was always acutely aware of like wrongs that were happening in the world. So my first actual stab at activism came when I was about, of course, around that time period. I was 18, getting people to vote. Then later on, that came to working with a Democratic candidate named Ken Sanders in Texas, and he was running against Smokey Joe Barton. So I actually had a really hands-on role in that campaign. Like I would write speeches for him, all kinds of stuff, poll walks, everything. It was really dope. Then of course working for like Elizabeth Warren at Marquis. This is when they first started running. Elizabeth Warren and Scott Brown. Um, Long years ago. Then moving to California, working for Amnesty International, fundraising, working for Greenpeace fundraising, Save the Children fundraising, and then also working with BLM back in California and Los Angeles for a few years. Just seeing the inner workings of that like that. So activism like kept me sane because it was a way that I could, while I was going through like horrible stuff, I remember I would be able to like get people to like donate money to causes because I could really like transmute like the story that I was going through and be like, hey, you know, there's this kid over here in Africa that's got no food, has nowhere to go, they got holes in their shoes, and the coffee that you're gonna take and spend for that day, that can go to be able to reach somebody else, right? I could say that because with like certainty and facts and truth and heart to it, because sometimes I didn't even know if I was gonna eat that night. Yet I was sitting there like raising money for these causes, and I was able to be so effective at what I was doing because I lived it versus somebody just like coming in there and not saying it. So activism is just it saved my life, you know, during those years because when you're going through hardship, it's always good to uh, you can still do good for others no matter what you're going through, you know. And it taught me that. And oftentimes, like, you know, there was times where I couldn't even get a bus ride home from the site. And, you know, and somebody's giving $100 to a charity, but I need like $1.50 to get on a bus. So I wouldn't even take it. I would still just like, you know, hitch the bus and try to, you know, get back because it felt so right to be aligned with the cause greater than myself. So
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that that's empowering just as a message. You know, whatever you're going through, there's always a way that you can help someone else. And I don't think people necessarily walk around with that playing in their head. And it's definitely empowering to know that there are people out there, activists like yourself, who do think that way. Think of other people before yourself. You know, you're not thinking about that bus ride home because you're helping the cause right now. And that's a later problem, you know? So I definitely think that's cool. And you talked a little bit about BLM while you were living in LA, and you were working on that project just to bring people more awareness. And I guess that kind of correlates directly to your song that you have, BLM, Say Their Names, featuring wavy bands. And you sent me the music video, which I'm just gonna say, like, you asked, I tell you what I think, and I'm gonna tell you how I feel. Like, I felt so many mixed emotions towards it. It was like a variety of sadness and anger, but then like all fueled towards something. Like, you were always moving, so I like my mind was always moving with you. It was really cool. I really liked that a lot. Definitely gonna put the link in the description so people can know what that music video looks like. But it was really cool. And something that I liked that you had in the beginning that kind of piqued my interest from what the first like 7 seconds of the video is a quote that you have by Jay-Z: "The way you redeem your past is not to run from it." And I think even just the way that you've answered some questions before, I might know where your answer would go, but I guess I just want to know how making this song might have helped you address your past so that you don't run from it.
You know, it's funny because I remember that song was actually the fastest song that I've written because my friend Josh was like, this is like right around the time that Ahmed Arbery had gotten killed. And you know, I remember Josh, the guy that directed it, said, "Hey, we got to do something for Black Lives Matter, you know, and we got to write something for that." And I was like, "All right." And I was kind of feeling a lot of mixed emotions too because, um, you know, I think that the one, I guess, when it comes to like how this video helped me not run away from my own past would just be, I think that just definitely as like a Black person, you know, you go through an immense amount of trauma. You go through trauma that's generational. So before you even arrive on this earthly plane, you know, within your DNA there's trauma. You know what I mean? Um, and I guess like there's, as a Black person, there's no way we can ever run away from our past because, you know, it's written on our skin, right? It's written on our skin. So when I made this video, I just wanted something to. I wanted, anytime that I make any song or video, I want to transmute a vibe to you. I know that, you know, I want to open up to like a spiritual experience and connect and convey that with you. You know what I mean? And with this video, I just felt a lot of anger. Of course, I felt a lot of sadness. Um, I also just wanted to do something because I felt like I was looking at a lot of like Black Lives Matter videos and it's protesting and stuff like that, but it's so much deeper. It's so much deeper than protests. Like even within Black Lives Matter, like it's just the way in which our whole like political system is set up and designed for people of color to fail. Like I've been a part of that in regards to like even though my parents came from Africa and they worked hard and got degrees and whatever like that, yeah, I still ended up homeless on the streets. You know, majority of the people that are homeless on the streets right now are African American people. LGBT youth have some of the highest rates of homelessness. You know, the intersectionality is insane, right? And so I wanted to make a video that was going to shock people so they can really like understand that this is like, we're not just out here. People aren't just protesting because, you know, it's cool or the fun thing to do. They're protesting like life and death. And so like, that's what that intensity, since this is the first year that I'm sitting out of protest in a decade, like I wanted to make sure that this was going to be something that, you know, 5 years from now, you know, people can still connect to, and hopefully it's not resident, but it's probably is going to be still resident 5 years from now. But people can still learn from and grow from and carry something powerful with a sense of like, you know, you can actively do something about this genocide.
I'm just curious, are you doing anything toward being an advocate for the LGBTQ plus community?
Oh, I just feel like, man, I'm stepped away from all activism because like I every day that I wake up and just am myself and create the kind of art that I do, like that's activism enough. You know what I mean? Like it just is, you know, just by virtue of just me being a queer like rapper artist, like that's enough. I spent, like you said, I spent a number of years just so focused on activism and helping others that this is the first decade, start of the first decade, is I'm focused on myself and what I need to do for myself. And I'm always going to be an advocate, and you know, I have no choice. I mean, it's why it's a community I belong. But like, I'm not like you're talking like Trevor Project and doing all that stuff. Nah, you know, I'm just making great art that has myself and is representative, and that's as far as I can really handle right now. I can't. Activism was too much right now for me.
Yeah, you gotta speak real loud now, I feel, if you are trying to advocate for any project, any organization, any feeling of disconnect. You have to speak really loud. There are a lot of voices out now more than ever, I think. At least that I can think of. People are being really, really passionate toward their beliefs now more than ever, I'm noticing. And it sounds like that's just something that you've always been doing, which is like more power to you. You know, you have more respect to your craft because it's years worth of emotion and feeling and being real since the beginning, you know. Um, so I guess just moving forward, do you have any future projects or anything you're working on now for the future?
Oh man, so I actually have a whole entire album called Dimensions. So that's being, you know, we already have all the beats for that. I not only do I have a whole entire album, I also have a mixtape called Ego Dies in Hollywood. So that's, you know, a short EP. So if you like anything that's like a lot of jazzy beats, like if you like Madlib, if you like a Flying Lotus, yeah. That's all that's what that's gonna be about. That's all about my experience in Hollywood, really digging into the homelessness. So I have those two, you know, I'm gonna a lot of stuff. I have a video freestyle I'm recording, you know what I mean, next week, and I'm always working on some stuff. So uh, the album and that definitely probably come out around January. So, you know, those are the two next projects. And of course, like my YouTube, like I just have another music video I put up for Touch. So,
Just to reflect on what that EP is going to be about, uh, do you mind talking a little bit about it, just as like a little sneak peek? And also a little bit more on like that experience of being homeless.
So an Ego Dice in Hollywood, like, I mean, man, that was a really emotional uh, mixtape to make. Um, it was really emotional because like I have a song that's called Malibu, where it's like, you know, I used to go when I was homeless. I used to go to Malibu all the time. So I would go on the bus and I would go to Malibu. So here I am, because I remember it was so funny. I talked to this one guy that was homeless too, right? And he was like, "Man, look at all these mansions over here. Cost $10 million. Well, guess what? We're sitting here on the beach for free, and we're surrounded by millionaires. And ain't no difference. And we don't gotta have none of the same stress and pain or anything like that. Because the homeless experience, let me tell you, it's a beautiful experience. Like it's a terrifying experience, but it's also really beautiful. Because here you are, like you're just one with the elements. Like I would sleep in parks, I would sleep on the beach, you know what I mean? And I would just be like, and let me tell you, like the type of sleep I got, sometimes it was terrifying, but sometimes I got like the best amount of sleep because it's just like you're in actual pitch darkness, you know what I mean? And you're just able to just be one with your like with the spiritual realm. So it's a very, very, very like powerful experience. And so I wanted to try and give that experience to the audience, you know, to y'all that are going to hear it because it definitely was the most incredible experience I had for like 5 years of my life, you know.
That's real cool. I'm definitely excited to listen to it. I'm hoping that I can get a better glimpse into you and into what deeply rooted connections you have to some crazy trauma and some beautiful earthly experiences. So I'm excited. You definitely prefaced that in a way that I'm looking forward to listening to that EP. And as far as the album goes, what's that going to look like?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's weird to think about, right? Like, I've had friends that have gone through the same homeless experience that I went through, and they all did the same thing. Like, one of my friends was like, it was kind of like camping. It's camping, but it's like on like a survivalist level. Like I feel like the only way I can compare it is like, and you'll see some people like when I was out on the streets homeless. That's something I want to like capture is like that mindset of it. You'll see some people when I was on the streets homeless. I met this other fool, and you know I remember it was raining like cats and dogs. I was in Orange County at this time, you know, and I was just trying to find a bus to go to the park I stayed because it was safe, you know. There wasn't too many people around, you know. And, you know, I was like, man, we should go into a bar or something and just like chill because it's like, it's raining cats and dogs. And he was like, nah, I don't think I can go back into society. I don't think I can ever go back into society under any circumstance. I'm just going to sit under this awning because that's how evil society can be. That's how evil and how like alienated society can make you feel. So when you go through so much hardship and trauma that even if it's like a freaking like monsoon out there, you don't even want to step back in and deal with people. You'd rather risk pneumonia than deal with people. You know? So like that feeling of alienation and all of that is like that's what I really wanted to capture with an Ego Dies in Hollywood. The album I have dimensions. That's just all like that's where you'll see the come up like you were talking about. That's more like all of it is like that come up base and that inspiration and that like thrill of just like rising and you know telling your story and owning your story. You know what I mean? So that's like those are two different spectrums of like my personality. You know what I mean? As an artist. So.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to listening to your projects because you're doing a great job of prefacing them. I'm very intrigued. But other than that, I think I am really excited to just be in contact with you a little bit more because I think you have a lot to say about your story and a lot to offer for other people with your craft and just like I said, being that shoulder. So I appreciate you talking to me. Do you have anything else you want to say, promote about you, or anything we feel that you left out or I left out?
No, I'm actually writing a mini series about my life, somewhat autobiographical about my homelessness. It's called Woman Finished because my name is Madeline, right? So it's Liberian for woman Basa, for like woman finished, the tribe I'm part of. And I'm kind of writing that. So like that's what I've kind of been working on too. So everything that I'm doing musically, I feel like leads up to that because visually you'll be able to see like what it's really, really like. Because um, and I guess I would tell people that's another one. Another thing is I would tell people like, man, if you see somebody homeless on the street, I don't care if they look like just give them $1. Homelessness sucks, like it really does, and you can only hope and you can only like pray that they're going to use that money for a good cause. But even if they don't, like that stuff sucks. It sucks to be out there on the street. So just like treat people that you see going through hardship. Don't judge, because anybody can be in that situation before. And that's really what I want to convey. Is that to have that humility and that humanity for everyone around you.
And I think your project will probably do a great job of doing that too. So I'll definitely let me know when that comes out, all right?
I will. Oh well, for sure. I'll send you. I'll send you the script. You have my email, so when I finish, I gotta
Okay,
get proofs first.
great, great, great. All right, Dawa, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.